one, go.
Well, we're here today with Chris Malveaux, who is the batting instructor at University of Tennessee Volunteers. Used to be with the Mizzou, but now with the Volunteer Orange. We just had a boot camp where we worked with some of our college clients, where we had a specific array of drills and some competitions under the direction of Dr. Peter Fatty, our co-founder. How did that boot camp experience help with team building and kind of some adoption in terms of how to learn how to use the app?
Going into, I think where we were before that, earlier into the fall, we did some general, like kind of basic team or group environment where, they're watching a video and trying to figure out what the pitch is and being able to recognize, balls and strikes. But with the competition, and it brought in a little bit more participation individually on their own, it really started to trigger things whenever they saw their name on the leaderboards of, who were maybe the top 3 or 4 on the team. Started drawing a little bit of conversation in the cages, and intensity started to pick up a little bit. One thing that's pretty cool is to pull off of that competition. Sometimes competition within your team is not a bad thing. And they walk in each week and they see who the latest leaders were from this past week. They were ready to try to take them down. And, it was a cool thing to see. But one other trend is a lot of our better hitters they had the higher scores. And so that was something that was also reinforcing to see as we did that, and further validated the whole part of trying to get more participation and do that. And as each week went on, more time periods we did it, they became better and better at it. So it was pretty neat to watch that growth over time.
There's a dynamic that sometimes good performers lead by example. Other performers, you can identify the gap. Hey, why am I not in the lineup? Well, maybe you should work on this. How does that play with these competitions?
I think it's almost proof in the pudding. I think it's important too when they're doing it. They see a lot of the hitters that are producing, that they're up toward the top of those leaderboards. I think when you're at practice and you're going through the physical stuff and you're going through games, and I think people can see when other hitters are having a little bit more success than others. And we had finished our team segment of the fall, and people, there was no shock of some people that had better numbers than others throughout the fall. But a lot of that was validated through this app, and the scores that you could go in and look into. But the scores they were receiving would kind of correlate to who were having more productive falls, and it was very blatant obvious. I think a lot of our younger kids really jumped into it, but more importantly, some of our older ones are like, I'm starting to look for this now, or maybe if a pitcher is doing something different with their body on this pitch, they're starting to kind of see things a little bit better. And I just think it's an important skill to be able to practice. But now, as they're practicing, there's some way to measure it with the score that they get.
So as a coach, we're always looking for the best tools, how to use those tools. And what we've strived to do at GameSense is make our tool, an extension of what the coach can do. So in addition to the other duties that you have, you're also looking to identify players and possibly use the analytics that we have internally within your team, but also to identify new team members. How do you think that our analytic piece and our assessment piece has helped you?
I think comparing to, let's say, physical traits where there's always, quote, combines you can go to and you can clock the home to first or overhand throws or, how high their vert is, all that good stuff. As we progressed throughout the fall, and we had a camp sometime in the middle of the fall, and couple of players that, pretty good prospects that were coming through, we would have them in small groups and take them through the exercise and the drills and, see just kind of how they do, talking about the art of pitch recognition and why it's important. But they were able to kind of go through, and it's pretty interesting to see, like, each group you may have one or two outliers that were a little bit more skilled than others at that, at the art of pitch recognition. And it started to become, it's like in the back of your mind, you're like, like maybe these people need to be a little bit higher on the list. They may have that same talent. You watch them do well in games and in tournaments, but when you're talking about separating, like maybe second level to maybe more top tier, what's going to translate to the next level, watching their ability to go through those drills and be successful at it, and seeing maybe some that are better than others, it gives you a better feel of who has a chance to succeed at the next level.
Because the competition gets much tougher as the pitchers get better, they get more skilled, then you have to be able to recognize the pitch that's coming out of the hand.
Right. The higher the level, the better the pitchers. We need to find a little bit, more, as many ways as possible to have an edge. The game changes, the older they get, and, we'd love to have them as prepared as possible, when we're out in the field. So.
One of the things that we do when we film is we set it up in a way where we provide a great level of detail with respect to the mechanics. Have you been able to use that detail within our video presentation to give more detailed and more, I guess, definite pitch tells or pitch clues?
I think, one thing that the detail does do is it really gets maybe somebody that has not, maybe thought about those kind of things when they hit, right? And you're doing the drills over and over, and it's forcing you to start looking for things that may tip something, or may give away what the body is getting ready to throw. A lot of kids don't think about that kind of stuff when they get to the college level, but focusing on that detail, and being able to do it, over and over again will start to program their minds to operate that in that way. And, as time goes on, as a fall would go on, they start to see things and start to communicate a little bit more. And it's pretty cool to watch.
I know when we go through that learning curve, if it's in front of the brain, your brain gets slow. As soon as when it gets into the back of the brain, it becomes automatic.
Yep. A lot more natural that way. So
that's what we want. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.